Hello, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Sam.
And this is Progression in Progress. Okay, we're back at it again. I think this is episode number 10.
That's
I
right.
can't believe we have made it this far.
It's truly amazing.
We're on a
great.
roll. Yeah, it is. It's been pretty fun so far. I've learned a lot, had a pretty enjoyable time doing it, and I'm ready for 10,000 more.
Woohoo! Let's go.
All right, so today we just wanted to do a super short, quick episode. I feel like every time we say that, it doesn't end up being short or quick. But this time we're committed to making it short and quick. And we kind of just wanted to have like a short, candid conversation. We really didn't do much planning for this. Just a short, candid conversation about social media and how we feel like it fits into the whole progression and progress vibes and mindset and universe.
Yeah. I think you were kind of talking before we kind of started about just like how do you feel like your usage of social media kind of affects your life? Well,
I think that's a good question. And yeah, what I was talking about before is I feel like there's just like a lot of noise in my life sometimes. Sometimes, it seems like I wake up and I throw on some music or something, and then I work out and I'm listening to music, and then I go on a walk and I'm listening to music, and then I'm getting ready for the day and I'm listening to a podcast or something, and making breakfast, listening to something, and then, I'll check social media here and there in between. I don't think I use social media a ton compared to other people, but it's still, I still use it, obviously. And I still think there's some changes I need to use or make with my social media habits to kind of, to make the most use of it.
I feel like kind of the same way. Like there's always, I think we kind of live in a time where it's just so easy and so accessible that it's just like, well, if I'm not doing something, then I might as well just be on that. It just kind of fills in all the gaps. And I've heard, lots of different things about how that's probably bad or it's just what it is. But I think there's probably something. It would probably be better to probably stay off of it a little bit more, just to kind of. I think we've been kind of talking about this a little bit recently about the whole idea of a dopamine. I don't know if we ever talked about this on the podcast before, but the whole idea of why am I forgetting the word? Dopamine detox. There we go. Yeah.
I'm not a huge believer in like detoxes, like health detoxes. Like you take a bunch of stuff to like clean out your system.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a huge believer in that, but I think I'm more of a believer in something. I don't know what the science is behind it, but I'd be more of a believer in something like a dopamine detox, just because it seems like. Well, okay, here's one thing. Here's a pet peeve of mine. And I think this is how this all fits in. But a pet peeve of mine is people will be like, okay, I'm going to do a social media fast, or see you guys in a month. I'm not using social media, or not doing this for a week, and then I'm like, okay, great. But then the whole point of it, in my opinion, is not to just go on a fast or go not use it. The whole point of it is to break your habit and then start using it again and rebuild better habits. But I think everyone always talks about the doing of it or the doing of the actual, like taking a break or whatever, instead of the actual changes that you're going to make.
I think at the beginning, you just kind of have to identify, like, if you have, like, if there's even kind of a problem in the first place, I guess. I don't know if everyone even uses it enough, or if it's even bad for the amount they use. So I think just going on a fast for kind of like no reason is just kind of pointless, and especially if you're going to be posting about it, it just kind of looks like a self-righteous kind of thing
a little bit sometimes.
But yeah, if you're kind of like looking at how you're using it and you realize that, okay, I'm on this way too much. I have a lot of other stuff that I could be doing that's better with my time, and then kind of just adjusting accordingly, and then just kind of like either limiting yourself or only using it during certain parts of the day or something like that, probably will set you up better than just going completely off for a week and then just going right back to how you were before. You're not really changing that much.
It's okay. I just had a great idea when you were, not a great idea, but just a thought came to me while you were talking, and I feel like I cut you off for like the 10,000 times. So sorry for that.
That was the end of my thought.
But one thing, it's like, okay, this is something I'm big on, and this fits into everything. So speaking of fasts, right? People will go on diets. Okay. Like they'll go on a diet, but for me, and I've read this in this book, I've read a little bit of this book called Atomic Habits, and this was in this, and it kind of helped me, I had these thoughts beforehand, and then this book kind of helped me formulate my thoughts better. But the thing, okay, so people will go on a diet, but the reason I think diets are so stupid, not because they don't work, because what's the point of eating healthy for 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, 1 week, whatever, if you're just going to go back to how you were eating beforehand? Because you're just going to undo everything that you did.
Right.
Like one time I heard there was this one guy, great guy I knew, he like dropped a ton of LBs. Like this guy was, he was a heavier set dude, and then he dropped major LBs, right? He dropped major LBs, and I was talking to him, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going home or whatever, and I'm gonna, my mom's gonna feed me. I'm looking forward to eating her sweets and her treats and her giant dinners and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, like come on, bro. Like you can't I get it. Like I get it. And like, I'm kind of intense when it comes to food stuff. So maybe take it with a grain of salt, but I'm like, come on, bro. Like, this is what I was saying in my head. I probably should have said it to him, but like, come on, bro. Like you just like went hardcore, intense, dropped major LBs, and you're just going to go back to how you were eating beforehand. Isn't that what got you into the problem in the first place?
Right.
And that might be a little intense, but that's just kind of how I view it. So it's like, for me, it's like, screw the whole, I'm just going to do this 12-week diet type of thing or whatever. You have to change your eating habits altogether. You have to make a complete change, and it has to be a lifetime thing. The example that the book used, and this is also to the extreme, but I think the extreme helps kind of make it clear. But the book was talking about smoking cigarettes. And the difference between, I'm not going to smoke cigarettes because I'm trying to quit versus I'm not a smoker. Does that difference make sense? Kind of.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's completely changing like who you actually are, rather than like, I'm just temporarily or trying to stop some kind of habit. Like, yeah, it's a psychological thing, I think.
And I think it's just like a mindset shift. Say that 3 times fast, but that shift, because it's like, you're not stopping smoking for 2 weeks. I mean, going back to this extreme example, you're not stopping to smoke for 2 weeks just so you don't smoke for 2 weeks. It's because you don't want to smoke for the rest of your life. And then, eating might not be might be a different example, but the way I see it, it's like, what's the point of eating healthy for X amount of time if you're just going to go back to how you were beforehand? I'm sure there's benefits to eating healthy for a short period of time, but if we're talking good, better, best here, the best would be eat only healthy foods instead of just like, it's so hard for people because they get it, like the diet thing. And I feel like this applies to so many things in life. This whole diet thing is like, it's like I'm not, like, they are it's like sad for them to resist these foods. It's like, I really wish I could eat that. And I think that's good. And it's valiant that they're making that effort, but I really don't think it's going to work long-term if they're just always so like sad they're resisting those foods. One thing that I did, and I don't know if I would advise other people to do this, but I kind of, when I got intense about how I eat, we're talking so much about food. You think this is a food podcast, but I really do think this relates to life. But you think, I got so intense when I was, went like super hardcore with my eating that it's like I would eat healthy food or unhealthy foods, and I'd be like, dude, why am I even eating this? Like, what's the point? It's not like, and then I just over time, I just was like, I don't even want to eat those healthy foods, or I mean, sorry, I don't even want to eat those unhealthy foods. And now it's gotten to a point where there's very few things that tempt me.
Yep.
Like I'll see advertisements, I'll see things, and I'll be like, bro, that just looks nasty. And and that's, I don't know if I would recommend this to other people because I feel like I'm a little extreme with it, and I really have grown to strongly dislike eating unhealthy foods, and that's pretty intense. But I think if you were to tone it down a little bit and apply it to different aspects of your life, I feel like there's something to pull from that.
Yeah, that whole the whole thing of just if you keep going with something, eventually, like you'll kind of eventually like change who you are in a way. So like kind of with your example, like I've kind of had a similar thing where I was pretty much a soda addict. Like, I'd have at least um like a can or two a day, or
Big
like
gulp champion.
yeah, exactly, or just one of those huge things you get from any fast food place or whatever. And I don't really know why I did it, because I didn't do it for any like health concerns or anything, but I just kind of like stopped doing it like a year ago, just kind of completely cut it out. And for a while I did kind of like kind of start craving it a little bit, but after a while it just kind of went away. And now I never feel like, oh man, I really really need to drink that or something right now. Like it's just like whatever. um and I think it's probably the same for most things. I think some things are a lot harder to get to that point than others. Like for smoking, for example, like I couldn't imagine how much harder it is to quit something like that than just food or drinking something. But um, I think I think the whole point at the end of it though is that you just keep doing something until you're not just temporarily doing it, but it just becomes a habit and a part of who you are, and that changes you for the better, rather than just temporarily trying to adjust yourself and then just kind of falling back into those habits again.
Exactly. You were a soda drinker, and then you became you were a non-soda drinker, not a soda drinker who didn't drink soda.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I guess we went like way, way out into left field and into the stands and up into the nosebleeds. So I guess we got to come bring it back full circle to close things up and relate it, I guess, to social media, I guess. What we started out talking about.
I almost forgot we were talking about that.
Well, I guess one thing that I really like about this podcast is one thing that me and Sam try to do is our job. We don't feel like it's our responsibility, our job when we're recording the show to tell people what to do, but rather it's like we're hoping to have a discussion, and then people can extract certain things from the discussion that they feel apply very specifically to their own life. Because the reason I like doing it like that, instead of, because there are some people who are good at telling people what to do, and there are some people who can command that type of presence and that kind of can give that type of advice. But for me, I feel like where I'm at in my own life and what I'm able to provide and what has worked most importantly, what's worked best for me is when people are talking about things and then I extract something from what they're talking about and apply it to my own life, not take exactly what they said and apply it word for word, line for line, letter for letter in my own life, but rather just extract something from them and then apply it to my own life. That's what's been like the most powerful thing for me. And I guess we just climbed even further up into the nosebleeds. So now we got to jump back down and talk about social media. So what were you going to say? Sorry.
So I think that for me, I think it was kind of like what I was talking about earlier. I kind of feel like I just use social media as a time killer, just either like in between, doing different tasks. Like, I'm on a break at work, I guess I'll just go on social media for a little while. And So I think, and I do use it other times besides that too, and it's not all bad, but I definitely do feel like I spend a, probably a bit too much time on it overall when I'm not actually like engaging with anything either. Like I'm just kind of passively scrolling forever. And so I kind of feel like uh, I may want to try and adjust that a bit and um, see how that affects my life, I guess, if at all. But um, yeah, like I think what we were kind of talking about earlier about, just doing something temporarily and then, you don't stay with it.
Yeah,
I
just how
think,
people go on a fast and then they don't change their habits.
yeah, like I think there is something, kind of valuable in at least just trying something for a certain period of time to see if it's even, you know, worth your time. But, um, but then, yeah, if it is something good, then just being able to stick with it and then make it an actual change in your life is probably the way to go for, I mean, unless it's something you kind of know is is already completely bad. Like I think social media is strange because it's both a blessing and it can be a curse as well. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard to be like, okay, social media is just completely bad. Let's completely cut it out. It's not as black and white as something like, smoking is bad or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I think it's definitely something to kind of look into, and then just because I think it's probably different for a lot of people. And, like some people, their whole job is social media and, um, stuff like that. So it's like it's unavoidable. But I think everyone like just has to find their own kind of balance and then just kind of work from there.
Yeah. Well, we promised to keep this short, so I'm going to just say one more thing and then I think we should wrap it up. I think one thing that I've been trying to do lately, and I think it's been working a little bit, but I still have some work to do, is I've kind of been customizing my feed a little more. And I've been, how do I say it? I've been, I don't know, just trying to make it more engaging because I really don't think the whole scrolling thing really adds anything. Just scrolling, not engaging, not doing anything, just kind of scrolling, killing time type of thing. I really don't think that adds much value to our lives. But I do think, kind of going back to it's a tool, but it's also a curse at the same time, a blessing and a curse. I think the blessing part of it is it allows you to connect with other people, friends and family, and then it also allows you to connect with really interesting content. So what I've been trying to do is kind of cut out the non-interesting content and then engage more, comment more, actually look at the pictures, maybe read the caption instead of just mindlessly scrolling. And I think that can can really, I think that's helped make a difference a little bit for me, but I still have some work to do because and one thing that I've been doing too recently is I've just kind of been going on a muting frenzy. I was talking to you about this, Sam, a little bit, but I think I was talking to you about you or talking to you about this, but like I just follow so many people that it's like, and it's nothing personal against anyone. Like 99% of the time, it's nothing personal against anyone. It's just like, okay, like you were really, you're a cool person that I met in middle school. Like I met you in middle school, bro, and I haven't talked to you since. Like you're a cool dude, you know, nice dude, but I don't know if I need to see your Instagram posts. And it's nothing personal. I'm just trying to like cut out all the BS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so true. Like, I mean, how many like pages we follow? They're just like random brands and stuff like that. We don't need to be just continuously like just advertised to, or like that doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
or just I don't know.
Well, that doesn't add a ton of value. It's just, I guess I just need to find things that add value. Does this make me happy seeing this? Does this encourage me to engage and make connections and be actually, does it make me be social, putting the social on social media?
Mm-hmm.
Social media can tend to make people antisocial, which is kind of weird to say.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. How am I using this in a way to where it's actually helping me be more social and connect with people, or is it just kind of having me, just scroll through and looking at stuff that I really don't care about?
Yeah, mindless time waster versus social connection. And I think one of those is good and one of those is bad. And I think it's pretty obvious which one we should be shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it was good to put some of these ideas into words because, believe it or not, this podcast helps me a ton. Just putting my ideas into actual words and sharing it with Sam and then sharing it with everyone who listens, I think helps me improve myself. It's not just me kind of dumping and hoping someone else can. I mean, that is part. I want to share things that help other people, but a lot of this helps me, and hopefully, if it's helping me, it's helping some other people.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to just get your thoughts out there and then, work on them from there.
All right, Sam, you want to close it out and let them know where they can follow us and what they need to do?
Yeah, so thanks everyone for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media because we actually have great content that you can definitely interact with and it makes you better. So go ahead.
That's
and
the plan.
Yeah, I know, right? Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, at Talk Progression. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already so you can see every time that we upload. Leave us a comment and a review on Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting platform that has that functionality, as that really helps us out. And anything else?
No, I think that's it. Good work. Thanks for, like Sam said, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you later.